No, please, no. I'll do anything.
I'm sorry. I thought no meant yes. Do you know this girl? Do you know this girl?
Just your lock screen.
Oh, dang it.
You have an appointment with the school counselor. You want me to come with?
Nah, they're just gonna say that I'm not reaching my full potential, which is crazy because yesterday I hit my 6-foot bong without coughing.
Very impressive.
Ophelia, drop the weed!
I was holding that for a friend! Who are you?
There is stuff happening out there. People are just getting away with awful things, and no one is doing anything about it.
They said I didn't have a case.
His job is to scout the bar, select, and slip. It's awful. I know how to do things most people don't.
So what do we do next?
Well, there is no we. I work alone.
We're doing this for different reasons. That doesn't mean there aren't people out there who need our help.
You want to be my Robin?
And it wouldn't be Robin. Robin's a bitch.
Think fast.
Not so funny now, is it?
Have a good season.
Leave this alone, Ophelia.
This is dangerous and stupid.
Police don't know they're looking for a girl.
Just keep going. We are two sweet girls who are just as scared of the attacker who's running loose.
Let's get him.
And if you even look at a girl without consent, we'll be back to finish the job. Got it?
In 2016, MTV decided to take an interesting, I wouldn't say risk, but an interesting leap of faith with a television show that deserved so much praise. You know, a television show that was created to tailor to the crowd of up-and-coming college students, students who are in college, maybe a few students younger, maybe some high school kids, on a very controversial topic, a topic that's even controversial now. The interesting part is that I believe the show did a very good job of mixing in this particular subject and the effects that it has on society, the effects that it has on people, the effects that it has on people who are directly involved in such events. I'm trying to really dance around this. I'm sorry. It did a very good job of mixing that in with humor, mixing it in with, a feeling that you're also in this environment, and it's, it's somewhere that you could be in yourself. It's a place that you could enjoy yourself. Now, this television show is called Sweet Vicious. It's, in my opinion, one of MTV's best television shows from the era when they really, really tried to put in this emphasis on a lot of television shows that were, I would say, drama mixed in with comedy, with a kind of situational comedy kind of vibe, something that you could catch random episodes of, and you wouldn't have to necessarily know the entire story, but you can still watch that episode and still enjoy it, and it's a nice time, and it could compel you to watch the rest. But enough about me and what I think right now. Let me go ahead and read this excerpt about the series right now. MTV describes Sweet Vicious as an offbeat superhero story for the millennial generation. It's about unlikely friends Jules and Ophelia taking a stand against those who dare to get away with abuse on their college campus. Jules appears to be the perfect sorority girl, but little do her fellow sisters know that come nightfall, she adopts a vigilante persona. When computer hacking weed dealer Ophelia discovers Jules' gig, It rekindles her interest in college life and kickstarts an odd couple partnership hellbent on exacting revenge. Clumsy attempts and missteps notwithstanding. Now, there's a lot to unpack there, right? So I'm not going to give any spoilers for the series because I want people to see it and get their own opinions on the series. I will say up front, Sweet Vicious only had one season, unfortunately. After one season, I believe due to low ratings, MTV decided to cancel the series. And so the first season, I will say that the first season did wrap itself up well, but it would have been very great to have a TV show like this go on to have more episodes, have more, stories to unfold, because all of the characters in the show are very, very interesting, and they feel very real. They don't feel like caricatures of these archetypes of college kids or anything like that. As you saw the description, they take the sorority girl archetype and they kind of twist it in a way that MTV shows were doing around that time. Another show that took that archetype and kind of like twisted it on top of its head. On top of its head? Is that the phrase? On top of its head? Upside down? We'll never know. Correct me at some point, please. But another show that took that trope and twisted it around in an interesting way was Faking It, which I'll probably make a video on that too. But they took the sorority girl trope and they decided to spin it around a little bit by adding a lot more depth to the character instead of making her this all-American sweet apple pie, blonde girl who just loves everything, comes from a very conservative conservative or rich home, and has never had like a terrible thing happen to her, or has never really experienced any sort of hardship in her life. They take this character and first off, immediately they show you that this character has an interesting side to her. She has an interesting sidekick. She's a vigilante. That's like a focal point in the show. She's a vigilante because this is around the time where you have a lot of things that you've seen, like Law and Order episodes, a lot of things you see in the news, like forgive me for like butchering this word, but like the Sturbanville case, where you had the girl who went to a college party and she was very, very drunk, and a lot of frat boys took advantage of her. And this was a very, very like controversial case. This was a very viral, case. Everybody saw this, and there was a lot of discussion around it because it was like, she was very, very drunk. So these boys took advantage of her, and they took videos and all kinds of things that were all over the internet. A couple of years ago, that sort of case wouldn't have blown up as much because things like the videos that they took would not have been accessible to the public very easily, because the internet wouldn't have been easy for people to obtain, right? But I'm not trying to like get away from the show. Of course, the show is about a girl, a sorority girl, who she herself, unfortunately, was in a sexual assault situation, and so she also had a self-defense class that she took, and so she for all intents and purposes, like, is really, really good at I don't believe they ever said like what martial arts style it was, like if it was specifically karate or if it was something else, but it might have been like jujitsu or something jujitsu or Krav Maga, something that was popular around that time. But I believe they like mentioned somewhere in the show that she's a black belt. You'd have to watch it to confirm. But she uses those skills to find boys on the campus who are accused of these things, who are accused of them, and the accusers have what seems to be a very compelling story, or maybe like proof in some sort of way that compels her to find these boys and beat them up and let them know that they can't get away with that kind of stuff, because she's watching, because someone's gonna be there on campus, the next time something like that happens and that dude's name is brought up. Show literally starts off with showing what she would do to a guy who is accused of that sort of thing. And I think Jules is one of the most interesting characters in the show, because they take that trope and they change it in a way that's very, very interesting, not only for the show, but to also show that there are like people, there are a lot of people who like that out there. And, in a lot of cases, Jules is a character that reflects them pretty well, like she's a character that shows the deeper layers to someone who has been through such torment, but also has to keep up a certain image for other people, or at least they feel like they need to keep up that certain image for people. And then on the opposite side, in a like perfect strangers kind of situation, you have Ophelia, who, for all intents and purposes, in the show, like very early on, they decide to show that she is in college. She knows what she's doing. She's very, very skilled. She's a computer hacker, is what they try to like really portray her as. Like, she's very, very skilled in computer programming and all things technology. And so she's kind of like a less depressed version of Elliot from Mr. Robot. And she has similar skills, and she just doesn't really care too much about like school or anything like that. She just mostly wants to chill, smoke, hang out, play video games, whatever. And she's a really cool character. I'm not even gonna lie, she's a really dope character. My heart. But yeah, she's a really dope character in the show. She's really, really chill, really, laid back, and she doesn't really get involved in a lot of things. And she happens to stumble upon Jules, and Jules like beating up a dude in an alley. But of course, like, Jules is dressed up as a ninja, which is like one of the coolest things about the show. Jules dresses up as a ninja and like finds these dudes and like gives them the hands, honestly. And so they meet in an alley, and she of course has no idea who this person is. She recognizes the boy, and Jules immediately thinks to try and stop Ophelia, in a sort of like, you weren't supposed to see this kind of way. But Ophelia immediately, like, mentions that she is aware that this dude has a reputation for like being a scumbag and like doing scummy things, possibly like, assaulting girls, using like drugging girls and things like that. So she's like, yeah, kick his ass, whatever, right? So through that interaction, Jules kind of like flex up a little bit, which is a really interesting thing about the character. They show that like she starts off showing as a character who seems to have everything together, everything like kind of like compartmentalized in a way that works for her, but she slips up because she's still human, and she's still a college girl, who's putting all this like pressure on herself for everything that's going on. And the show later on reveals reasons, like specific reasons why, and the more you watch the show, the more the story unfolds, the more interesting it is. Because Jules, lives in a sorority house. Her best friend is kind of the all-American, sorority girl as well, who seems like she's got everything in control also, and she's known this girl for years. I don't remember if they specifically go into how long those two have known each other, but yeah, they have a really, really strong relationship, but she feels like she can't, confide in her friend because she feels like her friend wouldn't understand, which is a very, very important part of these kind of stories to depict, because a lot of people feel that way, there are a lot of situations that people get into where they feel like, my best friend wouldn't understand because they've never really given off any sort of vibe that they've felt that kind of pain, been through that kind of hardship, they wouldn't understand why I'm so all over the place, that sort of thing. And that's a really, really interesting dynamic to see between her and her friend, and how that relationship's going. Her relationship with Ophelia is very interesting. Ophelia as a character is very interesting as well, because she also has certain things in her life that impact why she is the way she is, and they go deeper into how she feels about certain aspects of her life, and how she also has a certain image that she has to uphold. But one of the absolute best things about this show is Ophelia's relationship with her best friend. Her best friend, Harris. Now, Harris is also a very well-written character. Okay, Harris is to my knowledge, as far as the show goes, he's a black cis male who, seems to come from a more preppy kind of background. He's top of his class. He's I believe aiming to go into law school, to get a law degree, and he's really, really well kept, I guess you could say. He's really, really he's really clean, he's really proper, really clean, whatever, but he's also still really laid back. He's been friends with Ophelia for years, so he understands how to deal with her. He understands what kind of dynamic they need to be successful in whatever interactions they have. He also shows up to be her personal planner and shit. A good example of their relationship is that she hacks into his phone to put her important meetings or appointments in his phone, in his calendar, so that he could show up and he could tell her, hey, you've got to go see the doctor. Hey, you've got to go see the counselor. Whatever. Because she also knows that she's probably too lazy to answer any of that herself, which, yeah, I can relate. I can definitely relate. Yeah, Harris also later on in the show is a character that allows you to see certain situations that are talked about even now. Like through Harris, you get to see the kind of bias that some cops have had against black people on college campuses through a situation where Harris literally is the depiction of the character who is the how do I say this? He is the Carlton Banks sort of character, and he goes through a situation just like the episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where Carlton is driving the car with Will and they get pulled over by a cop, and then they go to jail because the cop says that they stole the car that they were driving, even though I believe the car that they were driving was Uncle Phil's car. So like, it was not stolen. It was not reported stolen. It was literally, it was their car. It was, his dad's car, and they were driving in it to go to a specific place that I think he let his dad know that he was going there, or like he was going to meet up with his dad. I forget. They were doing some sort of road trip, and they, went to jail. And that's when you had that amazing moment where Uncle Phil comes through and like lays down the law because, wow, I can't believe I don't remember that Uncle Phil was a judge. So he was coming through and saying, like, if you don't get them out of there, I'll put this, he made the comment about, burying that place in litigation. Uncle Phil doesn't have to give them the hands. He will give them the hands the American way with lawsuits. So, yeah, Harris is a character that depicts a lot of those viewpoints, and the show doesn't get like preachy about these things. Like it weaves all of these like subjects into the dynamic of the show very, very well. And I mean, it's got some really good humor, honestly, for a show that's on MTV that's aimed at college kids. It was done really well. Of course, the soundtrack is banging because it's a show in 2016 on MTV, so they have the rights to a ton of really cool songs. Yeah. I don't want to spoil the show, so I shouldn't get into too much more. But things to look out for are the love interest for Jules, Ophelia's mom, Jules' dad, Jules' best friend, and her best friend's boyfriend, who shows up a few times in the show. He shows up a lot. I want to say towards like the end of the show's lifespan, and he becomes a more important character also. And then like his friends become important. Like that entire it just does a good job of showing off how things are on a college campus, and also how common situations of sexual assault situations don't end well for the victim who comes to the school to say, hey, another student, I believe another student assaulted me. I believe it was drugged. I believe all these things happened. But that student is the football player. The student is, like his parents are the beneficiaries for the college, shit like that. It does a really good job of showing all those things without being just like some Law and Order SVU episodes where it's like super serious the whole time with like a one-liner here and there from Ice-T, like he really thought that he could come out here on a college campus and just drag a girl in broad daylight and get away with it. The privilege is insane, something crazy, right? But I think the show is worth it. I think the show is worth their time. The show is on Amazon Prime, but unfortunately, you have to buy all of the episodes in order to stream it on Prime. And it's like really weird. You have to like purchase the season or purchase the episodes individually. It's also on iTunes, available for purchase as well. The MTV website doesn't have the show anymore. They haven't mentioned the show, which, I mean, that sucks. It sucks that like the show got canceled, and it wasn't like a situation of like the creator didn't want to write more episodes of the show or anything like that, or be involved or anything like that. She was very, very passionate about the show. She's very, very passionate about what the show is about. Personally, I believe that people weren't ready to have the conversation because it was about rape culture, and that's a very, very controversial topic even now, because of course there are there's a whole slew of people in your YouTube algorithms that may tell you that that is not a thing and that it doesn't exist. And those people will fight tooth and nail to show up on college campuses and convince college kids that these aren't things that happen. So yeah, unfortunately, it was a very, very amazing show. It had a beautiful end to the season, and it also left room for more, but it didn't get more, unfortunately. But I believe now the show is going to live on through a comic. Got to double check on whether or not the comic is finally out, but yeah, the show is getting a comic book that's going to continue to tell the story, which is it's good that it's at least getting that, because there were like petitions and everything like, hey, bring this show back, do like we enjoy the show, like there's a growing fan base for the show, and it's not like the show wouldn't do well on television right now. Like if a TV show like this came out, it would do so well. But maybe it'll get revived. Who knows? Maybe this video will inspire many people to watch this show and then say, hey, I want more. Like, give me more. I mean, hey, we're getting another Matrix movie, so might as well. But yeah, this was the man, the myth, the fraudulent one, SubtleFraudulence, with another installment of Is It Worth It? Yeah, look at me, I don't even know the title of my own series, right? Yeah, so like, comment, and subscribe, as some would say. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if there are any like television shows that you want me to talk about, because I am open to all suggestions. I do have like a list of shows I do want to talk about, but pretty bad at like structuring these right now. I'm trying to like really feel it out and see what's like the most comfortable way of doing this for me. So yeah, give me whatever television shows you want me to talk about. It's very possible that I've already seen them, so if I have, I'll definitely get on to making a video about it. And hey, maybe if you're cool enough, you could join me and we can talk about it together. But yeah, don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified of any time I do post new videos. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, because I am trying to be more consistent with that as well. And yeah, look out for more videos. And thanks for listening. Have a good one. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. And just know that I care about you. And I'm sure I'm not the only one.